Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our Thursday Facebook Live interview show. I'm Sarah Blow, and today I'm going to be joined by Amelia Poch. She is a senior at the University of Vermont, and we're going to talk about the legislative internship program that she's a part of. Amelia, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, of course.
And so, what is your major at the University of Vermont?
I'm a global studies major.
Okay. Um, and what sparked your interest in government, and what made you want to join this internship program?
I actually worked with VPerg 2 summers ago, and I was a canvasser for them. And then I was a canvasser this past summer as well, doing phone banking during COVID, so a little different.
Mhm.
But that really got me involved in grassroots organizing, and I didn't really know how intertwined everything was until I had that experience
Mhm.
and talking to people across the state and getting their opinions. Um, that really got me into it. And then I heard about the legislative internship, and I was like, this sounds really cool. So
Mhm.
I just kind of dove headfirst into it.
Yeah, totally. And describe the work that you do with this internship. What's it all about?
So it's basically about just being another set of eyes and ears for your legislator because they have so much going on. I honestly don't know how they do it. They have another job and then they are a legislator full time, except for Mondays is their off day and the weekends. So it's just another set of eyes and ears. So I'll attend meetings, committees, caucuses for them, and take notes, send my notes over to them. Um, some other people are doing like deep dives into research
Mhm.
or things like that. But mainly being their eyes and ears and just helping them gather information, track bills, maybe social media posts, whatever they need.
Yeah, nice. And what is like one of your favorite parts of your work that you do?
I would say just sitting in on committee meetings and stuff. They're really interesting, and it's really cool to hear all the representatives talk about what they're working on.
Mhm.
And sorry, my roommate is vacuuming right now. Um, it's really cool to hear what they're talking about and see them work through the process of what they think about a bill or if they would decide to pass it or not. Stuff like that. It's really cool to see them do their thinking process.
Mhm. What are like some of the topics at these meetings and caucuses that you attend? Like, what is the main goal of these?
So they're all different. My representative is Representative Gabrielle Stebbins, and she is new this year actually, and she's on the Transportation Committee. So I do some work with her on that, and I attend basically things that I want to, which is another great part of the internship. That I have a lot of
Mhm.
freedom with what I want to do. Um, but I attend weekly the Women's Caucus on Friday, the Climate Solutions Caucus, which was right before this, on Thursdays, and if I can, any other committee meetings. And then I also watch the Progressive or the Republican caucuses on Tuesdays because they have to be at the Democrat one. So it's cool to see other perspectives too.
Mhm. Wow, so like a lot of different topics being addressed in these meetings. What are some of the topics that you're most passionate about?
I would say Climate Solutions Caucus or just climate in general. That's a really big proponent of Vermont legislature, how great it is to or how successful grassroots organizing can be in Vermont compared to other states because it really does work and it wouldn't work in a state like Massachusetts or New York or California. So that's really cool to see a lot of movement on that from the ground up. And also the Women's Caucus, which is really cool. I learned a lot about people coming out of incarceration and, re-entering society, a lot of stuff I just didn't know about.
Mm-hmm. And for those who are watching who aren't very familiar with grassroots organizations, can you describe like what they do and just what they're about?
Yeah, so instead of your legislators or your senators or your governor working to pass legislation and then kind of it trickling down to the average Joe or Jane,
Mm-hmm.
it's basically organizations reaching out to individual people, signing petitions, getting their support on things. For VPerg, it was becoming a member so they could do more of their work, stuff like that. But utilizing the people as movement and using their power, basically power in numbers,
Mm-hmm.
to pass legislation And with VPIRG, it was a lot of environmental policy, stuff like that.
Hmm. And you're mentioning VPIRG. Can you dive in a little more depth about what this they do?
Yeah, so it stands for the Vermont Public Interest Research Group. There's actually a bunch of PIRGs. There is a Mass PIRG. I think there's like a Connecticut PIRG.
Hmm.
I want to say some like in the Midwest too. But it's a grassroots organization. It's a nonprofit, and for Vermont specifically, what we did was I was a field manager, and so I had canvassers who I worked with, and I outlined a map for them every day, and then we would drive to some part of rural Vermont and basically unload everybody on bikes, and you'd bike around and canvass and go door to door and update folks on policies that we were working on or stuff that was happening in the legislature. And people are really interested in it, especially in Vermont, and a lot of people are members already, which is really cool. But yeah, grassroots organizing movement, a lot to do with environmental policy, recently racial justice, things like that.
Yeah. And you say that like these type of organizations like wouldn't work in like Massachusetts and other states. Why is that?
Well, for one, Vermont's population isn't too big.
Yeah.
That definitely helps.
Hmm.
But it's difficult to have as much support for strangers,
Hmm.
especially now. And VPIRG is a very trusted organization in Vermont, and people are closer to their local legislators. In Vermont, the population is so small, there's not as many constituents per legislator than there is in a much larger city or town. So that definitely has something to do with it. But I think also just trust, and people in Vermont are very trusting of local legislator involved in politics more than other states.
Hmm. Yeah, and you said you were paired with Gabrielle Stebbins, and she represents the District 6 in Burlington. Can you just describe a little bit more about what she does for Burlington?
Yeah, so she, like I said, this is her first time as a
Mhm.
legislator, which works perfectly because it's a new session, and so it's nice to join in. It is a little bit difficult right now since
Mhm.
everything's online, but I mentioned before she's on the transportation committee, so she attends that every day
Mhm.
in the House, and I guess she's on a lot of things. She attends a lot of other meetings. Like she weekly attends the Women's Caucus and the Climate Caucus
Mhm.
and sometimes the National Guard. She has a lot of interest in a lot of things, but yeah, and the Transportation Committee is her main priority.
Awesome. And so you're a part of this legislative internship. How has the work, and you say you've done a lot of work with like grassroots organizations and stuff like that. How has all of this been impacted by the pandemic?
Grassroots organizing, you said?
Just your work in general, like what you do.
Yeah. Well, it's supposed to take place in the State House, which would be really cool.
Hmm.
But honestly, it kind of works out well because that's an hour from Burlington, so that's definitely a
Hmm.
commitment.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think the big thing is just everything is online and you can't be in person meeting those legislators. And that is kind of a setback because I think forming those in person relationships can be very helpful
Hmm.
during the internship and then also after the internship, looking for relations or jobs in the future. So that's definitely unfortunate.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'd say the biggest thing is just not being in person and really getting to know people and talking after a meeting or before a meeting and catching up saying like, oh, hey, did you catch this bill last
Hmm.
week? Could you explain so and so? Or do you know anybody who knows about this or stuff like that, which is a lot easier in person than it is tracking somebody down over email because everybody has, hundreds of emails coming in right now.
Yeah. And so you work with Gabrielle Stebbins. Would you like to have a job similar to her one day? Is that what you hope to go into?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not quite sure what I would like to do in the future
Yeah.
yet. I am graduating in the spring, which is a little daunting,
Yeah.
but that's okay. Not quite sure if a legislator is the job for me, just because the way our political system works. You don't really get paid, and you have to work another job, so it's a lot. But it's so interesting to me, and I think it's so important. And I think the only way to fix that is to, take it straight on.
Yeah.
But I think maybe in the future, I would definitely do something similar, or maybe work with like an independent environmental organization that would work closely with legislators, but definitely being involved in politics in the future. Yeah.
Cool. And we spoke a little bit before about how you guys went around on bikes to talk to different people in Vermont. I'd love to hear more about that. That sounds like a really fun time.
Yeah, it was honestly the best summer ever. I started out as a regular canvasser, and then I was doing trainings for new canvassers, and then I became a field manager. So I was kind of directing like 4 or 5 canvassers every day. So I would come in early. I would create a map for each canvasser. So what roads they would be canvassing, and then marking, canvas here, don't canvas here, which is old school. Definitely would have been easier if we just had a printout of a map or something. I mean, like literally drawing on a piece of paper, like what the roads look like. But it's fairly simple, and you can't really get lost in Vermont, and then you still have phones and stuff. So yeah, I would do that, and we would drive out to whatever location it was, whatever town it was, and stop somewhere for lunch if people needed to, maybe find like a watering hole or a swimming place, go swimming for a little bit, and then everybody would have their cards of who to canvas in that area. And then we'd go out for the day, bike around, talk to people, and then rally us all up at the end and head back to Burlington for headquarters. Very, very fun summer.
Yeah,
Outside all the time. I got a lot of exercise.
yeah, that sounds like a lot of exercise. Do you know how many miles a day like you would bike on average?
Some were a lot and some were not so much. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
depends where you were and how condensed the town was.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely a lot, especially because Vermont is hilly. And
Yeah.
so going up some of those hills and driveways in rural Vermont when people are just like up in the middle of nowhere, it's great exercise. I think I definitely got me into biking more for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I just want to remind those who are watching that if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments and we would gladly answer them. And so where in Vermont were you doing this? All over, or were there just specific towns you would go to?
Yeah, so it was all over. There were a bunch of different field managers and directors of VPIRG, but they would assign each field manager a town, and then within a week or 2 weeks, depending on how big the town was, you would canvass the whole town. And we did actually, the year that I was a field manager, knock on every door in Vermont, which is pretty cool. So that's their goal every year, is get to talk to everybody and canvass every town.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so with that, you meet so many new people and so many new faces. Do you have any really like interesting or funny stories from canvassing, or were people generally happy to see you, or were some not so much?
Yeah, that's another thing with grassroots in Vermont. People are so happy to see VPIRG. I can imagine if I got that call and I was in Massachusetts or something, I'd be like, who the heck is this? And why are you knocking on my door? Like, go away. But people in Vermont are very happy to see people from VPIRG. They open their door and say, oh, like, come in, or, have you eaten yet? Come eat some dinner. People invite you in. I had a bunch of times that people would invite me in for dinner. I had awesome meals like corn on the cob outside, and then like cake afterwards. Like I just happened to stumble upon somebody's backyard barbecue, and they were just like, oh, like come on in. And yeah, people are very friendly, and there are definitely a few people who aren't so happy, but that's to be expected.
That's amazing. Wow, that's so fun that you get to kind of be a part of these little families for a bit.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't I if people don't have any questions to post in the comments, I only have a few more to ask. Do you have any plans for post grad? You said you didn't really have any ideas, but do you one day hope to be able to go back and bike around and talk to people again?
Yeah, I really liked my experience with VPIRG. So for this spring semester, I have this legislative internship, and then I'm also doing an internship through Young Entrepreneurs Across America. And that's an internship that becomes a job for the summer. It's basically you run your own branch of a painting company. And the spring is doing all the advertisement and marketing and your business
Mhm.
plan and all the specifics of what you're going to be doing for the summer. So getting your business ready. So I'll be doing that in the summer and running my own branch out of my hometown in Massachusetts, like 30 minutes outside of Boston.
Mhm.
And so I'll be doing that over the summer and moving into a place with my friend in Boston, which I'm very excited about. But I don't have any concrete job plans for
Yeah.
September, so I'm still looking.
Well, maybe one will emerge from this. Who knows?
Hopefully, that's my goal.
Yeah, just get yourself out there.
Yeah.
Well, that summer internship sounds incredible. How did you come about that?
I heard about it the first time when I was a junior,
Hmm.
and I was studying abroad in Freiburg this past spring. But the timing just didn't work out because you had to be here for the spring to get your business ready, which I didn't really know, and so I couldn't do it then. But I didn't really know exactly what it was. I was like, "What
Hmm.
is this?" Like, I was like, "Oh, looks kind of cool. It's an internship. I'll just sign up and send an email."
Yeah.
And then they send out an email like every year. I feel like from UVM,
Hmm.
and I just sent them an email, and then they contacted me, and then there was a bunch of interviewing, and I had to create a business plan, and
Hmm.
it was a stressful interviewing process because they're
Yeah.
pretty selective. But then I got the job, and yeah, pretty excited for it.
Wow, congratulations. That's awesome. And what is your business like what is your business going to be about?
So everybody runs the same type of business. It's called
Hmm.
student painters, and you're painting houses and staining decks and stuff. So I'll
Hmm.
be hiring people from my hometown, high school students, college students home. It's definitely about having a good painting experience and like painting people's houses well, but it's also for the branch manager. It's really about business experience and how to fire people, how to manage a company, how to work
Hmm.
with your executives and your managers, stuff like that.
Hmm.
So definitely excited for that experience because I have nothing to do with business in
Yeah.
school. I am a global studies major and I have
Yeah.
a community international development minor and a German minor. So I know nothing about business, but I'm
Hmm.
excited to kind of like have some real world opportunity and experience so I can carry that with me throughout whatever I do end up doing in the future.
Yeah, that's definitely an incredible like leadership opportunity. What drew you to that? You said you don't have a business background or anything. What made you want to just take a risk and join that?
Yeah, I would say my goal for life is to know a lot about as much as I
Mhm.
can. I think that's a really big problem in our society today is people are very one-sided
Yeah.
and I think it's a great skill to come to any challenge with a holistic perspective. And
Hmm.
I don't think enough people honestly have that skill. So I would like to be one of those people and I would like to know something about business, something about the environment, something about the economy, you know, something about engineering, something about city planning, because I'm also interested in that. I
Hmm.
think that that's really important because especially as we go and move forward, these issues are not just about one thing. They're so, multifaceted that you need to know a lot about everything. So I saw the opportunity to jump right into the business world and get some real life experience without having classes for it, but
Yeah.
also getting trained in the spring for the internship as well.
Yeah. That's amazing. What was you said the interview process was pretty like daunting. What was that like? Was there like multiple rounds, like different things you had to do? Like what did that
Yeah,
entail?
there were 3 or 4 rounds, I think. The first one was kind of easygoing. It was basically like, do you want to do this?
Yeah.
Send us your resume, send us a cover letter or whatever. So that was normal. I was like, okay, like here you go.
Hmm.
And then I talked to somebody over the phone. His name is Kevin. He's actually my mentor executive for the summer moving forward. So I talked to him a few times over the phone. He asked me a bunch of questions about myself, what I wanted to do, why I wanted the job, the normal things. And then I talked to his boss basically and had to create a business plan for my specifics of my business. So not
Hmm.
only like why I wanted the job, but my numbers, my goals for my revenue, for my profit, for where I wanted to target, how I would target people, how I would do my advertising, numbers for that stuff too.
Hmm.
So I created a PowerPoint for that. And then I think there was supposed to be another round, but he after was just like, you seem like you really want this job, and
Yeah,
I'd be happy to give it to you. So yeah.
that's awesome. How did you make a business plan without having any prior experience in business? Did you have to kind of do a lot of like self-teaching?
Um, so it wasn't, I guess I'm giving myself a little too much credit here. It wasn't like a full business plan. It was like a PowerPoint with
Mhm.
my goals for certain things. And as I mentioned before, how I would advertise, who I would advertise
Mhm.
to, how I would contact students about if they wanted a summer job. So that kind of stuff. But I also had help from Kevin, who's my mentor. So
Mhm.
he sent me kind of like a blank template and said, this is something that you should follow. And
Mhm.
then I had a bunch of information on young entrepreneurs across America and student painters. So I used that, and I said, realistically, what should my goal be for my hometown? Because this is my first summer, but also I want to push myself to do the best that I can.
Mhm.
So using their averages, but also kind of just being realistic. And
Yeah.
then it was all about inputting specifics about where I was and who I would talk to, stuff like that,
Mhm.
but not too difficult.
Yeah. And for the people you're hiring, do they have to have an experience? Like, do they have to have painting experience, or are they allowed to be like taught on the job? Like, what is the ideal applicant for that?
Yeah, so I don't think most people have to have experience because it is painting.
Yeah.
So I think it's mostly about what you want your team to look like when you're painting.
Hmm.
So you want to have people that have generally the same ideas and the same values. You
Hmm.
don't want to have people that are going to be arguing with you all the time.
Yeah.
People who will respect you.
Hmm.
And I mean, if they have painting experience, that's great, but
Yeah.
it's not about learning the skill. It's more about the team spirit. And if they're going to show up, if they're going to do their work, even if
Yeah.
I'm not there, if I'm out doing something else or talking to another client, then can I trust them?
Hmm.
So stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, that sounds incredible. I hope you have the best time with that. Amelia, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah.
Um, Again, for those who came here late, my name is Sarah Blow. I do these interviews every Thursday with new, cool, and interesting people from Vermont. Thanks so much, Amelia, and to everyone watching. I will see you next week. Take care.